Halcyon City in the shadows.
I'm going to drop a smoke screen grenade and get Monstrosity and I to the nearest alley and out of there as quickly as possible.
Good. Let's say just that works. I really want to do a scene where you two kind of gel as a team, right? You realize that you kind of have similar interests and stuff like that. So where do you end up after you've dropped your smoke bomb? They start yelling and like one of them lets off a shot, and then the sergeant kind of barks down at her, "Don't fire! Hold your fire!" kind of a thing. And you have an opportunity to escape. Where do you escape to?
I'm just going to be running along, sort of, I drop the smoke screen, I come and sort of just grab Monstrosity's vest and follow me and do it fast. And when we run. And I'm trying to get back to where my signal is pointing. The van is Martin's van, which is he just finds a hidden place somewhere, just off in the maze a little bit, and it's just a quiet kind of dark alley.
Martin's van is actually very, very far. He gets back on comms with you and he says, "I'm sorry, sis, but there were too many police. I had to pull out. I can come back for you once the heat has cooled down. Do you have a place to hide for now?"
Yeah, let's go. Can I say, like, there's a bridge nearby, like a river nearby, and we just go hang out under the bridge?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, so, and there's no headway or anything underneath this bridge. It's just straight up shore. There's some rocks that lead up to the
jail.
Sure. But yeah, you kind of, there's graffiti up on the walls and everything. There's no teenagers making out, but there was definitely a spot where that kind of thing happened, but nobody's there right now. And you get a moment to breathe. You're both breathing hard and you got a chance to talk to each other.
So, you do this often?
Don't usually get this attention when I do. What's your
Really?
name?
Vixen.
Okay, if you like that.
What about you? Where do you come from?
Crime Alley.
Crime Alley. Wait, I think I've read about you, haven't I? What brought you into town to the governor's rally today?
Heard about the job to take him down. He seems like an okay guy. Didn't want him to get hurt.
Can I pierce the mask?
Yeah. You're just trying. You're asking some questions.
No,
you're trying
hang on.
to read them.
I guess I don't need to. Yeah, I'm just trying to get a sense of what he's all about, kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
I guess that's what I'm doing through these questions. I'm trying to pierce the mask.
Well, let's just ask Jeff. Like, Jeff, are you trying to hide anything, or are you being straightforward?
I don't want to give like my real name or where I actually live, but
He started out by giving you a fake name, so it's like, well,
yeah.
so yeah,
That's totally fair.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've made a new friend, so I'm also not brushing her off or anything. So
yeah. So go ahead, Vixen, roll Pierce the Mask.
You're not totally convinced. Plus mundane, and I got a 13.
No problem. Ask 3 questions, and Jeffrey, you have to answer honestly.
okay,
Sorry, what was your character's name?
Dante Medina.
Dante, you have to answer honestly.
Okay.
So you said you heard about the job to take this guy down. What did you know?
Oh,
Before it went
you
down.
have to ask them the list. Sorry to say.
Sorry?
There's
I
a
have to ask
list
3 questions in a row.
I'm asking. You have to ask them from that list. You can probably adapt to fit that, but so if you want to give us the sense of the question and a little more detail, feel free to do that.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask what are you really planning? Almost as a like, what do you hope to do? Like if
In the grand scheme, kind of a thing, like a
in
big,
the grand scheme, now that you've set all this up, and we are where we are, what do you intend to do now, kind of thing.
I want to do right for the people of this city, and someday I would like very much to be normal again.
what is the little thing that gives away that last bit? The thing that you do that shows that you wish you were normal.
I think I just say it.
Okay. So Vixen, you can ask your questions now, or you can hold on to them and you could just keep talking and then ask your questions as the conversation progresses.
I'm gonna hold on to them.
The river laps. You hear some sirens off in the distance, but they're actually far away. Well, not far away, but you hear some sirens, but they're fire trucks. You hear the fire truck sirens rather than police sirens, as they're trying to pick up the pieces of this awful event.
You wouldn't have to know a safe place a fella could get a beer, could you?
Actually, there's a great pub just about 3 blocks away from here.
I'm not much for public spots.
Say, I'm not much of a drinker myself. I wish I could tell you. You do understand that this is not going to be the end of this, right?
I think I figured that out.
something like this doesn't just go away. And I think what we saw out there means that whoever wants to get to the governor wants to do it really bad. And we might have to do something about it again.
You're suggesting.
Can you tell me what you know?
You really think you can help? I
think I can try.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to. I'm gonna tell her what I know, the story of how I got offered the job and how I tailed the governor and had a change of heart.
Do you know anything about who or what they're connected to?
Don't know a lot about who they're connected
The
to.
DM is shaking his head.
But this is from Jeffrey's backstory. He got it through anonymous channels. That's how he gets jobs. Is it's like there's fixers and there's people, just layers of information in between him and his employer usually. So that's in the backstory.
I don't know their name, but I've met them in Crime Alley, and if I went there again, I might be able to pick up their smell.
I'm not much of one to believe in fate, but this seems like our worlds colliding.
There's totally a
I'm gonna. What?
There's totally a song with those lyrics.
Yeah. So I just tell him a little bit about myself, that I work in the background behind the politicians to make sure they're honest and they do things right. And I see something in this governor too that's worth protecting. So I think, yeah, we might be able to, on our own, it might be tough, but on our own it would be impossible. But together, it might be doable.
It's been a long time since that was part of the team.
I guess.
Of a team. Can I just throw something out there? This is a move we haven't encountered yet, and this is the kind of moment where it come up. We've already done gauging threat, unleashing powers, piercing the mask, defending, assessing situation. We haven't done provoke. Provoke is like,
I guess, comfort or support.
That's right. Comfort or support. Comfort or support someone. He has just that's why I repeated it. It's like, and since we're in the original, like the first arc of the first stage of your relationship, I just wanted to point it out. Like, you have a knack for connecting with people. That's part of your mundane ability. And he just threw that out there. It's like, it's been a long time since I've been a part of the team, right? He's willing to be vulnerable with you. This is a good chance to comfort or support him, right? It's like, and it sounds, that's why I'm mentioning it. It sounds, that's kind of like what you're doing. You're like, hey, let's work together. We can be together. So if you wanted to frame that in your conversation, you can throw that in there. If you wanted to ask any more questions from your Piercing the Mask, this might be a good time to do that too.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna comfort or support. I'm gonna roll for that. I'm gonna do it by walking up
first.
Closer. Huh?
What do you, this is a fiction first game, which means you have to say what your character does.
I see.
Okay. To support it, and then we find out how he reacts.
I'm right up to it and say, "Call me Renee."
And I'll be honest, like you have a move later on that gives you potential for revealing your identity, but I think I'm gonna get you to mark potential for that too.
Okay.
All right, roll plus mundane, and we'll see how
that plays out.
Mr. Monstrosity reacts.
I got a 10.
Okay, so you can on a hit, they hear you. So this is something to inform your role playing, Jeff. You hear him. They mark potential. So Jeff, you can mark potential too. You can put an extra one of those boxes, or you can clear a condition, or you can shift your labels. That means your freak and danger and all of that. You can actually change that around.
Oh, cool.
What?
You can shift 2 labels.
Whoa.
Wow, that's something.
That's powerful.
That's you open up to her.
Well, I think I have. I still have the condition of guilty that I never cleared from last round, and I think this would be I think I'd like to clear that.
Okay, you can clear that condition if you open up to her. She just. You're vulnerable. I think you opened up first, so I think
he already did. Yeah.
So yeah, clear your condition. You're no longer feeling guilty. If you have somebody in your corner now, and that means maybe you're not a complete screw up, right?
Yeah. My name's Dante.
And so on a 10 plus, you can also add a team to the pool. So you had no teams, now you have 1.
Okay.
Or Joe, or Vixen, you could clear a condition yourself. Do you have any more conditions marked?
I think I still have insecure.
Okay, so you can clear that if you want. Or you can add a team to the pool.
What does adding a team to the pool do again?
It means you have an opportunity to help each other when you're engaged in a task together.
No, I cleared insecure already because I jumped in front of the police. So I'm going to add 1 to the team.
Okay, so you have 1 team in the pool. And eventually that resets, but I'll reset it to 2 to honor your decision here. All right. Keep talking. You guys tell me when you've exhausted the scene. Okay. You have you have 2 questions left for Pierce the Mask. And after this conversation, they kind of evaporate. So.
Yeah. Okay. What is the influence question? How could I gain influence over you?
So influence is a game mechanic. Let me just tell you some of the things that you can do. Influence means it's like it throws the word specifically, right? It's like you have influence over somebody. They look up to you. They listen to what you say. That kind of thing. It has an impact on team mechanics, so that might make you the leader of the team temporarily. Like right now you're kind of equals, but if he's looking up to you because you have influence over him, then you might be the leader of the team. And let me just read this. It's on your basic moves sheet on the 2nd page. So if you open up the basic moves and scroll down to the 2nd page, you'll see the 3rd column over it has influence there. It says when someone has influence over you, it means you control what they do, say, or think. At any time, you can give influence to any character who doesn't have influence over you. So you can just give it away, right? And that can be for each other, or it can also be for non-player NPCs. Blah, 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 blah. When you have influence, take +1 to all moves targeting them, including rejecting their influence. When you take advantage of your influence, you can give up your influence to give them a -2 on a move, inflict a condition, or have +1 on a move targeting them after the roll. So you get a +1 already, and then if it doesn't work out well for you, you can spend your influence to get an additional +1. So it just means that you have a little bit of control over Jeffrey's character, and it goes both ways, right? If he gains influence over you, it means you care what he says and thinks and all that kind of thing. And so he has a little bit of control over your character that way. Not like you have to do this thing, but I can make you want to do something, right? So.
Gotcha. Let's go with that. How can I gain influence over you more from a place of?
You would be willing to give him that influence over your character and your role playing if he did this. But frame the question that way. Answer the question that way, I should say.
Wait, what? I'm confused.
It's essentially how can I help you trust me?
Yeah. How can she make you care about what she says and thinks and does?
That's an excellent question. I guess I still don't really know what she's capable of. So, it's good to have a friend, but I'd like to know how much I can trust her with. I would like to know, like, what she's capable of doing for me, what she's, how can she help me out?
Okay. So I'm hearing something really good that actually ties in really well with some of the mechanics for your characters. There's a relationship mechanic, and for each of you, you had to pick like one phrase that describes the other person. So it sounds like, Joe, or Vixen, you could choose to say, I have to prove myself to the monstrosity, because that's what he wants. He wants to see from you, so that you'll gain influence from over him. You could choose that; it's up to you. But I just noticed that thing there. The one for the monstrosity is not as straightforward. Let me just skip forward here. I'm going to search for it. So, monstrosity, would you say you're at your lowest right now? It doesn't sound like it, but you can decide.
I wouldn't say so, no.
Okay. But maybe we could just shorten it to be like, Vixen comforted. Would that be legit?
I will say, yeah, that's accurate.
Okay, so we could say that's your relationship to Vixen, is she comforted you, and you don't get that very often.
Yeah, and she does seem scared of me, and that's a big deal to me.
Yeah, for sure. And for Vixen, you have a few more to choose from, just because we're operating out of 2 playbooks. But the one for the beacon that jumps out at me was, you've got to prove yourself to blank before you feel like a real hero. We can change the wording of it. What would you say? What is a phrase that you say would define your relationship to the monstrosity after this conversation?
It's a cliche, but I see some moral integrity underneath the gruff exterior.
Okay, so seems like a good person.
Yeah, he seems honest.
Really well with the Janice. Knew you from your childhood. Civilian? No. You refused to tell. Blah. No. So yeah, I know there's some good in him, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if that matches with him. Who I think it would be. I think it would be the legacy who would have something like that.
Mm.
How about this? You trust blank and told them an important secret of your identity.
Kind of did.
Yeah. So would you say you trust him now?
I trust he's telling the truth, what he's told me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why don't we write that down then? Yeah. You trust the monstrosity and told him an important secret.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just pure role-playing stuff. There's no mechanical benefit or anything. It just defines how your relationship is at the moment. And we can change kind of every session, each session that we play. Good. So we have relationships down. And for Vixen to get influence over the monstrosity, she would need to do something to prove herself. That's good to know. All right. Do we want to call the scene there, or do you have more to say?
Is there a way I can contact you in the future?
Um, yeah. Um, I'd probably have to. Yeah, I mean, I've just been thinking that there's like a bit of a, like Martin and I have these wristwatches that we can have a little beacon with, and I could probably uh, give you one as well,
And
so that
so
anytime you
with
want to or need to get in touch, you just send me a signal, kind of thing.
Sounds good.
vice versa.
Yeah,
Is it a two-way? Like, can you contact him through the watch as well?
it would be. Yeah.
Yeah, it would make sense.
It's like the off-brand Apple Watch.
Yeah, it's kind of like a
It's a-
smartwatch kind of thing.
Right.
Like it's something you could just like send a text over or something like that.
Nice.
Maybe drop like some
Drive back to my bike.
homing coordinates.
It's
Yeah.
having flashback to Inspector Gadget. Like, look, she's looking at her watch, and he's got like these things coming out of his collar. But you would each have like a watch, and you can talk to each other that way. So
Yeah.
Perfect. Great. Anything else? Did you have a last question? I think you've asked 2 questions.
Um,
And the others, I think you've kind of gathered.
they kind of happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to ask a question, then great. Otherwise, I think we can call scene there.
I think that's good. Leave it.
Yeah, I think I'm cool with calling scene there.
The rest of that fight went a lot better than I expected it to.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so we get a panel on the next page. At the top, it says a few days later. And let's talk about what happens in your regular life for a few days.
So for sure, like the political world is abuzz with everything that kind of happened at the rally, and there's a lot of time and resources and effort that are going to go into getting to the bottom of the details, right? The who, the what, the why, and everything like that. As far as my personal,
Well, like your time and resources and effort, or you figure out what other people are, or what time and resources and effort are other people are doing.
Both. So there's a lot of buzz from a lot of people.
Okay, so you don't have control of that, but you can listen to the buzz that's coming out from other people. Is that something you want to do?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do my best to keep my ears.
I modified the assess the situation role to include a research kind of an option. All it is it's the same role. You roll plus superior, except now instead of rolling, oh, I don't have it on here. It's on the one I posted on the Google Drive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's just all it is. It's a different question list. So you can't ask the same questions, but you can do your role for assessing the situation by listening to the news, by paying attention to the word on the street from your circle.
Sort of cohort, yeah.
The questions are, do you have that open there, the moves, the basic moves?
I have the basic moves open.
I can see where is, how secure is, what people or places are related to, who owned. So you see a difference list there?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. On your notes
So
on the
that's
side, yeah.
research. And right now what you're doing is you're kind of doing, keeping your, that kind of makes sense?
Yes.
All right, roll plus superior.
Sweet. I got an 11.
All right, so you get to ask 2 questions.
Who owned or employed the bots or the assassins that were involved in this whole square fight?
Okay, so there's a lot of confusion about what happened because a lot of eyewitness reports state all of this stuff about the robots, but at the same time, there's no video footage. There's no nobody was able, and it's weird because we're living in an age of smartphones where everything is connected, and even with superhero activity, there's always some kind of video record of it, right? But even the major outlets that were going to cover the governor's speech, their devices were not working. Nobody was able to record anything. So it's all left to word of mouth. So the accounts that of the people, the beings, the creatures that were attacking them vary wildly, right? You hear something about one that looked like a wolf. You hear something that looked like there was a bat that came from the sky. You hear something about all this kind of stuff. I have to answer honestly. So who owned or employed them?
I was thinking, like, if there was any reports from the aftermath, like from the pieces or the people that were brought into custody or anything like that.
Right, because a bunch of them would have been kind of arrested and taken.
And like hardware could have been analyzed.
Okay, good. So absolutely,
they could have been interrogated.
You don't have your hands on any of the hardware itself, but one of the reports, the news reports that you hear, is there's an alleged connection between the robotic soldiers and a super, we'll just call them supers, a super who calls herself the Anarch. Usually, she hasn't done anything large scale like this. This seems strange, but she has been known to target smaller businesses and to steal things from warehouses and a variety of like low scale stuff like that. So this is a very big kind of a splash for her and kind of unusual. It seems like she's punching above her weight class right here. But yeah, the name of the Anarch has come up as the soldiers have been questioned.
All right. Second question. What people or places are related to the Anarch?
Okay. So, as you might guess, she doesn't have a known base of operations. And in fact, a lot of the activity that she has been connected to is kind of a guerrilla base. Like, it's like, so what people, places are related? You could probably get a list of the places that have been targeted, known targets and victims of the Anarch. Yeah, I think that would give you a good place to start looking for information. She went down and she targeted an automotives warehouse or factory, and there was also a warehouse that was selling, like selling and not selling, distributing. Alternative tech, we'll say it that way. And this was actually one that belonged to a familiar name, to Harrison Woods. He's kind of a tech mogul who's also a political would-be. And one of his facilities was targeted. And so there's a couple of different options that you can choose from to go and look for more information if you so choose.
Was that a leading bit? Like, do I have to choose something to do?
No, that's just the information that you got. You said what places are associated with her. You don't know her base of operations, but you do know the places she is attacked prior to this major spot.
And she had some attacks that were related to this Harrison Woods guy, and like what he
one of the target, like I just mentioned two. I could come up with others if you want, but I figured those would be some of the most interesting ones to you. One was like an
automotive factory, and
the other one was this place, alternative tech distributor that belongs to Harrison Woods. I mean, it's a few days later, and Vixen is doing some research here. How much time and energy are you devoting to this research?
I would say a very solid amount of time and effort.
Okay. In that case, I want you to roll the...
at least as much as my full-time job.
Wow.
It's kind of...
It's like a random thing. Like you're spending all your free time doing this. Okay. So one evening while you are poring over the news accounts of the incident, and you're looking at there's no footage, like there's no recording of the two of you, but you're listening to an eyewitness account of a purple lizard man that was holding a gun and all this kind of stuff. I want you to roll. I think it's mundane. Yeah, roll plus mundane.
Okay. Oh, this is my daily life commitments.
That's right. Roll well.
Sure as hell did.
Okay, what'd you get?
All right.
15.
Wow. So you got double sixes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
I go on a date.
Is that what you want to do?
I have this thing that my best friend Jackie keeps trying to get me into the dating sphere.
Okay.
She keeps trying to set me up with dudes.
It's phone, and it is Jackie. And I presume you answer it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what kind of person is Jackie?
She who would be a good character to compare her to? Have you seen Smallville?
No.
I've seen Smallville.
She'd be like Chloe from Smallville. So she's super spunky. She's very almost like she's a very sarcastic but very loving, very generous kind of person. She is Asian. She is, what would her job be? I don't know if that.
Maybe
She's like,
how do you know?
How do I know her? Let's say we were like childhood friends. Like we were not next door neighbors, but practically kind of thing. Like we lived in the same neighborhood. We played a lot of the same games kind of thing. Came from very similar sort of familial backgrounds, socioeconomic status.
Elementary, junior high, high school friends.
Elementary.
So you for a long time. Does she know that you were a vixen?
No, she doesn't.
Okay. So yeah, she's calling you up and you answer. And she's, hello.
Hey, Jackie.
You mind if I interrupt your really boring life for a moment and give some good news?
You have 3 minutes.
I'll put on a timer for sure. How about I tell you that he's tall and dark hair?
No.
And a gorgeous beard.
No.
You've got to get out, my girl. I mean, you've been working hard, and I know it's good to work hard, but all work and no play, you know. And besides,
I know.
he's good looking. I like the
You're telling me you really know how to pick him, Jackie.
I mean, you told me that you wanted a really nice personality, and that guy had personality. I mean, personality for days if you wanted to listen to him. But it's really good looking, and you'll love this. He's a doctor.
Of
Come
what?
on. You come out. I'll bring the. Does Jackie have a boyfriend?
Yes.
What's his name?
Brian.
Of course, Jackie and Brian. So I'll bring Brian and invite him along, and you don't even have to pretend to be dating, but you should because he's really good looking and he's a doctor. And I haven't seen you in like 3 weeks.
Fine. Let's go for it. What's your plan?
And she launches into it. She says, okay, so it's today is Wednesday. On Friday evening, we're going to go out to the Elbow restaurant. And it's like a tongue-in-cheek funny thing in downtown Halcyon City. And yeah, it's basically a pub. They have some dancing. There's no karaoke. I promise you won't make you do that again. At least not for a while. But we've got everything laid out. He's already said he's interested in coming, and it'd be great for you to meet him.
Oh, I'll be there.
Good.
Do we set like a time and place?
Yeah. Now, in the move, it says things are going pretty well. You have an opportunity or advantage thanks to one of your obligations. Does this count as an opportunity or an advantage, or do you want it to come from somewhere else, from your job as a political lawyer, from your home, or from, or does this one count?
And does this mean an advantage to my personal life kind of thing?
It's left vague, and I think that's on purpose.
Okay.
Because we're playing a game with superheroes, having an opportunity or an advantage to fight against your super enemies might also be good. So, but it's up to you to decide.
Could be kind of fun if this guy was like somehow involved in the Anarch's schemes.
Interesting.